Hello and welcome to this Birth Your Dreams webinar. In this webinar series, you'll learn how to birth creativity in pregnancy, birth and parenting, but also in business and other ideas. We are a group of birth workers around the world, working with topics around pregnancy, birth, postpartum, and other female topics. We're connected through Deborah Pascali Bonara. And my name is Hanne Brygger, and I'm here today with Angelika Leibnitz. Hello, Angelika, how are you today?
Hi, Hanne, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm excited to be here with you. And Angelika, let me just quickly introduce you so people know who you are. Angelika Leibnitz is a biologist, expert on natural birth control, and she's a doula and a childbirth educator. She truly believes that all our female topics such as cycle, menstruation, fertility, pregnancy, birth, postpartum, and menopause are not a failure of nature. There is so much beauty, wisdom, and strength in being feminine, and it's her mission to spread this message so we women become aware. And Angelika, today you'd like to talk to us about natural birth control and about orgasmic birth. And so can you tell us a little bit about your way?
Sure. For me, birth control is such an important question because it's a question that we all have to ask ourselves at some point. The fertile period of a woman's life is long, and sooner or later we all have to ask ourselves, what do we do for birth control? And for me personally, so many things started with birth control, because when I was 16, I left home to be an exchange student in the United States, and before I left, my mom asked me if I want to have the pill prescribed, and I already knew back then, no, I do not want to have the pill prescribed. I do not want to take chemicals. So at the beginning, I was using condoms, and I thought it was okay, but when I got my boyfriend almost 10 years ago, he pretty soon let me know that he doesn't want to take condoms in a relationship, and that's when I had to find other ways. And I found this book about natural birth control, and ever since I've been using it. And for me, it's the only possible way to avoid getting pregnant, and successfully. I've been using natural birth control for 10 years now successfully, so it does work. But let me tell you what I mean by natural birth control, because there is so many rumors and so many myths around natural birth control. Whenever you Google it, so often it says, don't use it, it's not safe, it's not proven. So that's why here I would like to explain what I see as natural birth control by beginning with what I do not see as natural birth control. So for one, if you want to calculate your ovulation or your cycle, this is not a safe and proven way to avoid getting pregnant, because you cannot calculate ovulation in advance. It's not possible. So that's why these methods often fail. Another thing, what's very common nowadays are apps. I really do not recommend apps to be used for natural birth control, because apps also work on basis of calculating ovulation, and as mentioned, it's not possible to calculate ovulation. Neither you nor an app can do it. So another thing you hear is maybe eating some foods which should help you to avoid getting pregnant, and that's another thing. For example, they say parsley, but you would have to eat tons of parsley every day to to avoid getting pregnant. So this is also not something I recommend to to avoid getting pregnant. Of course, you can play with it if you want to. If you do not, if you say when it happens, this is of course totally up to you. But if pregnancy really wants to be avoided, I do not recommend eating tons of parsley every day. And the other thing people often say is that they can feel their ovulation. And this is, of course, great if you can feel your ovulation, but I would not recommend to only trust feeling your ovulation to use it as a birth control method. You can use it in addition, but I would not recommend to only trust that you can feel ovulation. And also it's sperm. Do you know how long sperm can survive? There's also been a lot of rumors about that. Sperm can survive up to 6 days. So feeling your ovulation might be too late, because if you had sex before and sperm were able to survive, then it doesn't help you so that you were able to felt ovulation. That's why I also do not recommend this to use as an only method. But what I see as natural birth control is that our body, our female body, is giving us signs and signals to show us when we are fertile. And if we know these signs and signals, then we can pretty easy find out when we are fertile.
Thank you, Angelika. And what are these signs?
Well, there's 3 things a woman can pay attention to, 3 things she can observe. So for one, this is the cervical mucus. The cervical mucus is a discharge that is produced in the cervix, and this cervical mucus has a very, very important role to play because only if there is cervical mucus, sperm can survive. If there is no cervical mucus, sperm die. But if there is cervical mucus, they can, as mentioned, survive up to 6 days. And most women have noticed some kind of discharge throughout the cycle, but a lot of times we don't know if it's good, if it's not good, because nobody's telling us. Sometimes women even think that this is something not good, and they are using vaginal douches to trying to get rid of it. But to have cervical mucus is actually very positive and a very good sign, because it shows us that we are fertile. So this is the one thing she can observe. The other thing a woman can observe is the cervix itself. So by inserting 1 or 2 fingers into the vagina, you can feel the cervix, and you can see, is it hard or soft, is it open or is it closed? And this does give you information on where you are in your cycle, if you are in the fertile phase or in the infertile phase. And the third thing the woman can observe is, this one is a little bit more tricky, that's true, but she can, if she wants to, take her temperature every day in the morning before getting up, so circulation has not started. As mentioned, it's a little more tricky to do that, but if the woman is willing and is able to take her temperature every day, she can find out a lot about her fertility. Yeah. And for those of you who are interested, I created something called Natural Birth Control and a Happy, Satisfied Sex Life, because in the natural birth control method I just described, it's that you avoid sex in the time when you are fertile. And for many people in the first moment, this sounds like, what? I mean, they show us that sex is everywhere. In the media, we always have to want, we always have to like to have sex, we always have to, every time it's great and it's over in 10 minutes. So that's the pictures that they show us in the media. But sex is not like that. You can go so much more deeper into your sexuality if you avoid sex for some times in your cycle. So for those of you who are interested in natural birth control and a happy, satisfied sex life, you will find the link to this below this video. It's totally free. It's when you sign up in the link, you will get a free PDF and a chart. And then the chart is there to write down all your observations about the cycle. And in the PDF, you get detailed instructions how you chart your cycle and what you have to pay attention to, how your cervical mucus can look like, what does the cervix feel like, what does temperature can be like, and so on. So detailed instructions on how you have to observe your cycle. And on the other hand, in this PDF, you get, I share my 4 juicy tips to what you can do in the time when you're fertile and in the time where you're supposed to avoid sex to still have pleasurable times. So if you are interested, sign up.
Thank you, Angelika. And how do you find that natural birth control and orgasmic birth is connected?
For me, these two things are strongly connected because the natural birth control gives you a possibility to get to know your body really well. Yes, you find out so much on your own, and it gives you so much confidence. Orgasmic birth, I truly believe that orgasmic birth is possible. So I do not believe that birth is like what they show us in the media. When I first heard about orgasmic birth, and when I first heard Deborah and Ina May Gaskin say, what gets the baby in gets the baby out, this was so obvious for me. I knew these two things must be connected. I mean, we all know how a baby was made, right? And hopefully this was a beautiful, pleasurable experience. But why do we think that birth is supposed to be the complete opposite? No, I don't believe in that. I believe that birth is meant to be a very powerful, empowering, pleasurable, great experience for both the mother and the child. But of course, as birth, what they teach us about birth, you have to prepare if you want to have a pleasurable birth. Yeah, it's not something we've been learning in school so far. So, and the more you prepare yourself, the more confident you are in your body, in your cycle, in your fertility. When you know your body, when you know how your body works, the easier it's going to be that you have a good, empowering birth experience. And let me give you one example. It's the due date. This has been so important for me because the due date, now it works like that. We go to the doctor when we think we are pregnant. We go to the doctor and ask the doctor, can you please tell me when I had sex so that we find out when the baby was made? But how can the doctor know? How can the doctor know when I had sex? And the thing is that the doctor says, you had sex on day 14. But if I didn't even have sex on day 14, or let's say around day 14, then the baby is not able to be made on this day. And nobody is teaching us that we are supposed to track and write down when we had sex, especially when we want to get pregnant. I mean, most women know that they should write down when they have their periods, but it's at least as important to write down when we had sex, because if we get pregnant, so we can find out ourselves, we can calculate ourselves when the due date will be of the baby. And I've seen so many women, when the due date comes, of course the woman wants the pregnancy to be over, because with the weight and the belly, things have gotten difficult. The day-to-day life has gotten difficult, and of course the woman wants to have the baby in her arms. But what if the baby doesn't come? And I've seen it so often. And then the things start. Then people around you get nervous. You might get nervous too. You have to go to the doctors every few days then you will be checked. Did you dilate? What's the status, and so on. And this does not really help you to have an orgasmic birth experience, because fear is with fear, things get so much more difficult, and then there might be interventions and so on. So, but if you yourself know, then if you yourself know when the baby was made, so you yourself know when the due date will be, then you avoid that. When it comes to the due date, things get busy, and that would be so great for me. I would love the women to know themselves when the baby was made. It would help so much. Yeah, it would help so much. And also, that's the thing, I think it's not only about us, it's also about our children, because many women come to me, many mothers come to me and ask me, what am I going to tell my children? What am I going to tell my daughter? And of course, if I do not know myself, how can I what am I supposed to tell my children? So that's why I called my website is called The Female Cycle. I mean, the website is in German, but when you translate it, it's called The Female Cycle, because I think everything is connected. The more confident I am in my body, in my fertility, in my cycle, the more able I am to have a good birth experience. And the more confident I am in telling my daughter about her fertility, about her body, about her cycle, the more able will she be to have a good birth experience. So all of these things are connected, and it's really important that we get confident in our female body.
Thank you, Angelika. One last question is, you're in the middle of creating your business within this field. How has your journey been so far?
Right. I'm in the middle of creating a business, and for a lot of years I've been trying to do it on my own, and this has been really hard. But things changed when I joined B School, and I became part of our Birth Your Dreams group from Deborah. So happy to be part of it, because on the one side, I got tools. I got tools helping me nowadays how to use the internet, how to spread your message, how you reach the people that are interested in these topics. And on the other hand, we support each other. We are a group of like-minded people. And instead of seeing ourselves as competitors, we are holding each other's hands. And it's so much easier to make a change together than if you try to do it alone. So I'm very grateful for being part of this group, and this has helped me very much.
Thank you, Angelika. It was really lovely to have you here today, and to hear about you dream about working with and what you are already working with in your business. And for those of you who would like to know more about Angelika, you can find the details around her business and her work just below these videos. And yeah, thank you for today. Thank you, Angelika.
Thank you, Hannah. It was a pleasure to be here with you today.
Yes, and you too. Thank you.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.